All right, everyone. So it's been a long off season, just months of complaining about the NFL season not starting, and it's so long away until real sports kick back up. American football, basketball, the sports that we really care about. And now it's a week until the NFL season starts. Less than that, and I am staring at my screen like, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to make these videos. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to make two large videos. I'm going to go through the AFC and I'm going to go through the NFC. We're going to go through the more fun one today because that's what I'm more interested in. The AFC. The only intent on this entire video is if I get one of these things right, then I can come back in 6 months and yell at everybody that I was right. But if I'm wrong, hey, that's just a part of the game. All right, so we're first going to do the AFC East. So I don't predict a certain amount of wins. I think predicting a certain amount of wins is absolutely ridiculous in sports media. Being like, they're going to win 14 games. They're going to win 15 games. It's like, I don't know, man. Go through any game of the Bills, the Vikings, the Chiefs, or really any team. But, like, you know, especially the teams that had a lot of close games. Just look at any team, really anybody's schedule. Look at anybody's schedule. And you're going to find losses that could have been wins, and you're going to find wins that could have been losses. It's a little ridiculous. I think more so what we can predict is where a team is going, where their direction of their franchise is. Are they trending up? Are they trending down? And within a 3 to maybe 4 game win prediction, I maybe can predict that. I can say I think this team is going to be between 10 to 14 to wins. I think this team, stuff like that. So with that being said, let's start with the AFC East, and we'll start with the Buffalo Bills. I think the hate on Buffalo right now is just it. I don't even want to say hate, just the bad vibes argument for the Bills is completely valid if we're talking about the Buffalo Bills in this Super Bowl context. If we're talking about the Buffalo Bills in this context of they're right there with the Chiefs and Bengals, Josh Allen should be the favorite for MVP, and all the hype that they got at the beginning of the last season, that was unwarranted, and we've seen that. I think we're all out. I think every smart football brain is out on the Buffalo Bills as being this, like, unstoppable contender that is going to plow their way through the conference, and Josh Allen's going to win the MVP. I think we've seen they're not in the Chiefs and Bengals tier. But now people have them, like, missing the playoffs, and I won't get behind that. They won 13 games last year, and they could have won 14 if the DeMar Hamlin situation didn't happen. And even if they were to trade Stephon Diggs tomorrow, I would still have them in the playoffs. Josh Allen is a prolific player. Whether he's an MVP caliber player or not, he's going to be a top 6 quarterback for probably the most of his career, and that's really, 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 really valuable. So no, I don't think the Bills have it this year as far as a Super Bowl. I don't think they're gonna, go 15-2 or. I just don't have them making this huge fall off like everybody thinks is going to happen. Like, just because they got smacked in the divisional round means they're not going to be good in the regular season. I don't get behind that. I think Sean McDermott and Josh Allen and that entire core has shown an ability to be really good in the regular season. Whether it translates to the playoffs or not, the Bills are a good team. I think people are a little quick to jump off the bandwagon. So obviously, I think this team's a 10 to 13 win team. They should be top probably 4 to 5 in the conference, and it's a stacked conference, so that's why I say 4 to 5. And they probably will lose in the divisional round, but I just don't have them having this, like, extreme drop-off. As I'm not saying everybody's saying it, but there's definitely a part of the media now that's, like, totally off the Bills, and I'm just not ready to go there. So I have them being number 1 in this division, first of all, and Josh Allen will be good. Whether he will be great, I don't know, but he will be good. I know that. I know he'll be good, and I know he'll take them to the playoffs. And And that's where the rest of this division gets really murky because there's not really a bad team. The Dolphins. The Dolphins have a lot of question marks. Obviously, if Tua plays games, that's a huge question mark. He had conversations about retiring this offseason. So, yeah, there's obviously a lot of questions around the Dolphins and Tua and all that. But I feel really good about it. If Tua is just going to play, I feel really good about their offense. Their defense has shown the ability to at least make some plays when needed. And I really like Mike McDaniel. I know how they had the really weird year of winning 5 straight, losing 4 straight, winning 5 straight, or whatever their season was last year. I know it was something goofy like that. But there's no reason on paper they shouldn't get any bit better. I have them as the number 2 team in this division. But obviously, if Tua Tagovailoa gets injured and just retires mid-season, I don't know how well that prediction is going to play out. So we'll see. But assuming Tua's health and everything, I think Mike McDaniel is going to have another great season as far as drawing up offensive plays and using Tyreek and Waddle. Tua really isn't asked much of this offense. So I have them as a 9-12 win team. I think that the Dolphins could be really good. Like I said, if Tua just plays, I think they'll be good. I think they'll be around that. If Tua is playing all season and playing at the semi-prolific level that I think he can this season, obviously, we've given up on Tua Tagovailoa. We've given up on Tua Tagovailoa as the tank for Tua guy. He's not that. He's in the same draft class as Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. And we've quickly seen that in that 1 year of tank for Tua, just in the college season, Joe Burrow proved to be clearly the best player out of that class. And Justin Herbert is prolific in himself, and he's much better of a QB prospect, I believe, at this point, than Tua Tagovailoa. But with that being said, Tua has shown an ability to be, at worst, he can be Phillip Rivers for his whole career if he just plays. You're telling me a guy that's just gonna sit in the pocket and be accurate as hell? That could be Matt Ryan. It's just because Tua isn't Joe Burrow doesn't mean he can't be a great quarterback for a really solid team in the regular season for 8 years in a row. He can be one of those guys. So I think the Dolphins are going to be second in this division. And we're moving on to the New England Patriots. I like this team a lot better than last year. It's just this team just literally has to be better. From a coaching standpoint, having Matt Patricia as your offensive coordinator, who was previously known as a defensive coordinator, was the stupidest shit I've ever seen on a NFL coaching staff. I'm not that old, but it was the stupidest shit I've ever seen. Do I think Mac Jones is a trash can? No. Do I think Mac Jones is Patrick Mahomes? Obviously not. But I do think Mac Jones can be a serviceable quarterback if you give him a team where he can be serviceable. Sam Darnold looked horrible for 2 horrible franchises, and now he's on the San Francisco 49ers, and everybody's like, ooh, this Sam Darnold guy, he's the next Steve Young. And it's yeah, bro, the quarterback position is reliant on a lot of players to be good. And if you're telling me Sam Darnold spent 5 seasons in the NFL, and then he finally went to a stacked NFL roster, and now he looks pretty good. Shocker. Shocker on that one. So, yeah, I think Mac Jones could be a good quarterback if he had a functional team and offense around him. So I really like where the Patriots are going this year. I like a lot. I like everything around it just based off last year, just based off of it has to be better from last year. So I think the Patriots will be a really good competitive team in this division. I just think this division is going to be a goddamn dogfight this season. And I don't see the Jets being the 4th best team in this. I don't see the Jets being the worst team in this division. I don't. I think they've put too much into this season and the potential of Aaron Rodgers and the fact that they've never had a guy like this. And I think the Jets, based off of their own, I know I just turned this into a Jets thing, but these are the last 2 teams in this division. I just don't see the Patriots being better than the Jets. And I think the Patriots are a 7-11 win team as far as a range. Really could see in a super idealistic world a scenario where this team wins 11 games. Mac Jones has made the playoffs previously. He's shown to be a somewhat pretty decent quarterback when his team is, again, somewhat functional. But I just don't see them having a higher place in this division than the New York Jets that have just put their entire stock into this 1 year. We all know the hype around them. We all know the hype around this team. It's on Hard Knocks now. You're getting Aaron Rodgers clips daily. He's cussing out New York Giants linemen. He's doing pretend joint handshakes with Sauce Gardner. It's just, I like the Jets roster enough and the Aaron Rodgers motivation enough to put them. I'm not obviously that high on them. Like, I have them third in the AFC East. So, with all that being said, the Jets are my third spot, behind the Dolphins, behind the Bills. Because I really don't. I don't like their offensive line. Rodgers wasn't good with a bad offensive line last year. Their defense, while being really good last year, is the thing in the NFL that fluctuates way more than offense. Defense we've seen a lot more cases of defenses being really, really good for a year and then being kind of okay the next year. And that's just because defense is a lot more of chemistry and pieces fitting with other pieces and game plan and that kind of thing, and motivation, honestly, because it's all reactionary. To a certain extent, obviously. So I have the Jets as my number 3 team in this division. Again, 8 to 12 wins. I'm giving a lot of these teams a lot of high ceiling, but the Jets are. This is a really good division, and the Jets, and this is a crazy conference. This conference is filled with a lot of teams. So I think that's the main point we should take out of this video: is this conference is stacked. And chill out, bro. And obviously, ideally, if the O-line isn't as bad as everybody thinks it will be, which I think it will be, and if Robert Saleh is a much better coach than he's shown in his first 2 seasons, then maybe they can hit that 12-game win prediction. But I don't really see it happening. I see them more on that 8 side. I see them more on that 8-win side of that prediction. And yeah, honestly, Patriots probably around there too. I think they'll probably be 9 to 10 wins. I think this division's really good. And there's a very good chance that the Patriots and Jets are worse than I think they are, but I don't think the Bills and Dolphins are really going to be that bad, Tua's health aside. So that's my AFC East. Let's move to the AFC West. We'll start with Denver. I really like Sean Payton. I was the guy last summer telling everybody in this city of Kansas City, Missouri. I was telling everybody in the city, guys, we've beaten the Broncos a lot over the last 6 years or so. Really, actually, exclusively. We've never lost to them in this stretch. As a 21-year-old Chiefs fan, I started really, really, passionately watching around, 2014, 2013. That's when I was, really getting into it, and around 13, 14. I've never seen the Broncos beat the Chiefs. Never once. And I was telling everybody, guys, they've never had Russell Wilson. They've always had maybe if you don't think Russell Wilson is going to be the old Russell Wilson, he has to be better than the guys that they've had at quarterback. And he just flatly was not. Russell Wilson last season played like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Is he going to be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL this season? I don't believe so. But is he going to be top 15? I really like what Sean Payton can bring to this team, but it's just not talented enough. I feel like we've been overlooking the Broncos roster a lot over the last couple of seasons. They have a couple good pieces, but I just think there needs to be a lot more filled out to that side of the ball. And Sean Payton can't just completely change Russell Wilson. We've seen an entire year of NFL football from him. Even if Nathaniel Hackett was the worst NFL head coach to ever come into the league, Sean Payton isn't going to make Russell Wilson look like old Russell Wilson. I have the Broncos as the third best team in this division, only ahead of the Raiders, just because Sean Payton can bring the Broncos from utterly horrible to serviceable. And I think the Raiders are going to be a shit show this season. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a better replacement for Derek Carr. I'm sorry. So Denver's my 3 in the divisional. I guess I've already covered Las Vegas, so I'll just get into them now. Jimmy Garoppolo, like I just said, not a better replacement Josh McDaniels is a horrible head coach. He's just proven to be a bad head coach. He had a semi-decent start with the Broncos, and then after that had a horrible rest of his regular season stint with the Broncos when he coached them. And he has been a just flatly bad head coach for the Vegas Raiders. And obviously I didn't watch a lot of Raiders games last season, but in the 2 against my very good football team, there was never a moment where I was like, Josh McDaniels really outthinking us there. Frankly, not a lot of teams do that in the NFL, but the Raiders really make it look hard. Like, they should have won that game in Kansas City last year, but they just didn't because we have Patrick Mahomes. So, anyways, I have the Raiders as the worst team in this division, and they are borderline Caleb Williams potential here. They really are. That's how low I am on the Raiders this season. And, like, dude, Devontae Adams might ask for a trade halfway through the season before the trade deadline. No joke. Like, talk about bad vibes. That's bad vibes. Okay, I'm sorry, but how does Devontae Adams have to feel? Like, he went from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr, which was at least his best buddy, and then to Jimmy Garoppolo? It's like, I came here for Derek Carr. Who the fuck is this guy? And then I have the Chargers as the second best team in this division. I think Kellen Moore should help out the offense a lot. The offense just looked really stale last season. I just don't feel like they're using Justin Herbert enough. He's such an amazing quarterback talent. I think he is meant for a more spread out system. I don't know necessarily if they obviously have the talent to do that. I know Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are more guys that fit better in a system off of the play action and off of the running that they do with Austin Eckler. But I think Kellen Moore is going to open it up a lot this season. Justin Herbert's offensive numbers should be really, really good. And their defense, if they don't just get everybody injured on the team from week 1, they should be great. But it just happens every freaking season. Every season it happens with this team. And as a division opponent of my favorite team, it's just like you get to a point where you feel bad. So I think the Chargers will be good again this season. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs and then blow a 27-0 lead. But I think they'll have a good season. I think they will be a playoff team in the AFC. I think their offense is just going to be good enough to where they'll make it in the defense. Even if it's injured, it's always at least somewhat good. And I'm sorry, I like Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. I like that rushing tandem. And I might be biased. I saw them when I had low seats in Arrowhead, and I saw them walk out, and I was like, holy shit, those are the largest 2 human beings I've ever seen. But I have that knowledge now. I've seen it in person, and I just imagine it against other NFL teams, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I think their defense is going to be good. Sue me. So, the Broncos win range. The Broncos win range is like 6-9. The Raiders is like, dude. The Raiders is 2-6. I'm really low on the Raiders. And I have the Chargers as a 9-12 win team. I kind of put them in that Dolphins category. I think they'll be a good team. They're a team with flaws, but I think they're a good team. And obviously, my Kansas City Chiefs, you know what I think about this team. Chris Jones aside, he has publicly stated that the latest he will come is Week 8. And if you look at the Chiefs' schedule in those 7 games, I'm not too worried about it. There's a couple maybe hard ones. Obviously, people talk about the Lions, and it's like, I feel pretty good about the Chiefs on opening night. Then they play the Jags, which that will actually be a hard one. But then they get the Bears, the Jets, who I don't think will be that good. The Vikings, who I don't feel great about their squad this year, to be honest. Like, I think their offense will be fine, but I don't know about the defense. I know Brian Flores is coming in, but can he really make them have good defensive talent? And then a lot of games that I feel confident in as a Chiefs fan. The games that I'm worried about are all at the end of the season, whether it be the Eagles or the Bengals or the Bills. Like, those are the heavy hitters. So what is the Chiefs' win range? It's 13-16. Like, I don't think they'll go 17-0, because if they were 16-0, they'd rest their starters. week 17. Maybe. But there's not much I can really say about my favorite football team. We're amazing. We're a mini dynasty. I'm so excited for the season. I'm basking in every single season and moment and game and play. And second, watching Mahomes and watching Kelsey. And you know what? If this Chris Jones thing goes completely south and we trade him, or he doesn't play a single game for us for some reason, or if Chris Jones doesn't play a single snap for the Chiefs again, thank you so much, Chris Jones, for your services. You are one of my favorite players of all time. People who get mad at holdouts are 13. And I respect the decision. What Travis said, we love you and please come back, because you are the difference between us being a dynasty and not. And I want to win another. I'm not on the team, but I would like to watch my favorite team win another championship, please. So once the Patriots were right, man, it's like once you win one, you really want to win that second one, and then once you get to 2, you're like, all right, well, we can win 10. So if we did 2, we can win 10 Super Bowls. We can win the next 7 in a row. That's how I'm currently feeling. So realistically, I think the Chiefs win about 12 to 13 games this season, and they're going to make the Super Bowl. That's what I think is going to happen. People are like way too down on the receivers this year. I didn't understand it last season, and I definitely don't get it this season. Last season, everybody before the season was like, I don't know. The Chiefs wide receiver core is not very good without Tyreek Hill. They only have Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Sky Moore and Justin Watson, and as if we didn't have Travis Kelce. And then the Chiefs went out and won the Super Bowl with their horrible receiving core before the season. And the only piece in that receiving core that they lost was Juju Smith-Schuster, and everybody's doing the media circus again with the receivers. And I'm like, guys, did you literally not just learn from last season? It happened last season, and we lost Juju, and that was it. We still have Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who was a really productive receiver for this offense. Obviously, we have Travis Kelce, the best receiver in the league. Like, that's just what he is. He's a receiver. He's not a tight end. He's a receiver, and he's the best. And you know who else I feel good about? Sky Moore, coming off of a season where he won the Super Bowl and caught a touchdown in his rookie season. I feel good about Sky Moore's progression this season. I feel really good about Rashee Rice's role as a rookie in this offense, considering he's a Juju Smith-Schuster type of player. Justin Ross is a guy that we don't know. Dude. Sure, do we know what Justin Ross is going to be? No, but I like that we have this X factor on the bottom of the receiving core. So the questions about the team should be the defense and the only questions, because I just don't get an argument that the Chiefs aren't going to be as good as everybody says, and the argument being the offense. Like that's never been a good formula for having Patrick Mahomes in your argument if you're saying the offense isn't going to be very good. So the defense will have questions, obviously. If Chris Jones is not there for 7 weeks, that will be an issue. But assuming he's back by at the worst week 8, obviously I think if Chris Jones would have been active in this training camp and preseason, I would have felt really, really, really good about this defense. I would have been saying I think this defense can be top 12 in the league. I feel that good about the defense coming into this season. All of our guys are young. All of our guys are fast. It's the best Chiefs defense I ever saw with Patrick Mahomes, no doubt. And I just feel really good about all of our pieces. Obviously, we lost a couple small pieces, Thornhill, a couple other small players. Not to discredit Juan Thornhill. Had that pick 6 in the preseason game, though, Juan. That was kind of messed up. But I just feel really good about the defense, even without Chris Jones. Like, as far as being able to win us games, I don't think they're going to be a top 12 defense if Chris Jones is not playing for 7 games. But I think in the games that Chris Jones plays, I think we'll be really good. And you know what? I really like a guy who's playing for money. And Chris Jones will be playing for money if that is the case and there's not a deal done. And you know what? If this weekend, if tomorrow I get this report that says Chris Jones signs largest deal in NFL history for a defensive tackle. That is great. I will love it. Chiefs dynasty back on. Let's go. But if not, it's been a great couple of years, so I'm kind of just riding high right now. If something bad happens to the Chiefs for a small period of time, hey, got to come back to NFL reality at some point, right? And we'd still be awesome. So sorry to have the biggest spiel in this video about the most obvious answer in this video, but they're my team. I had to get some frustration out. The AFC North. This division is just a dogfight. This division is brutal, man. I don't even really know where I'm supposed to go with this. I have the Bengals as my one in this division, obviously. Look, they're a great team. It seems like Joe Burrow is going to play week 1. There's no reason Jamar Chase shouldn't be as prolific as he's been. The offensive line, they signed Orlando Brown. We'll see what happens with that. I still don't think their offensive line is going to be significantly better. It might be a little bit better, but I just don't see it being significantly better. You didn't add any game changers on the offensive line, and I don't think Orlando Brown is a game changer for an offensive line. But we'll see. We'll see how the defense is this year. Obviously, they have great success against the Chiefs, but just overall in the league, we'll see. I think they might have not a significant drop-off, but definitely a little one. I see them being as one in the division. I see them as being a 10-13 win team. We can talk about the Ravens next. I'm really interested to see where the Ravens go this season. They're one of the teams that I feel most swingy about because, yes, they're going to have a more focused offense on the passing game. Their receivers are probably the best Lamar's had. But what does that say? Their receiving core still isn't. I haven't seen anything from Zay Flowers, so Zay Flowers could come in and literally be Tyreek Hill his rookie year and just be awesome from the gate and be one of the best receivers in the league by year 3. I still think it's going to happen. I think he's going to be a normal rookie receiver that struggles to get into the offense, especially with Lamar Jackson, just because Lamar's not the guy that's going to feed you downfield always. And obviously, I love the Odell Beckham signing, again, considering where their receiving core was. But, it's not like I think their receiving core is this overwhelming receiving core. And they just always find themselves in really important games with backup quarterbacks winning. They almost beat the Bengals last season in the playoffs with Tyler Huntley as their quarterback. So, as much as I want to say I'm down on the Ravens, I still think they will, no matter what, be a good team. I think it's impossible for the Ravens to be bad. I think they're winning 9 games out of the gate, which I think says something to where they're at. But then again, I see them more of the 9-10 win range than any bit higher than that, really. I feel strongly in the prediction that they're about a 9-10 win team. I don't think the offensive weapons are still good enough, and I haven't seen what a passing-focused Lamar offense has been. I've seen him be the most prolific runner in all of football, which opened up his passing game to let him lead the league in touchdowns. I don't know if we can put the focus on the passing with Lamar. Not to say that it can't happen, I just haven't seen it. And he very well could go out there, be awesome on offense, be top 5 in passing yards. Lamar, I am one of Lamar's biggest fans. I would more than love him to do that. He's literally one of the most electrifying quarterbacks I've ever watched in the NFL. And it's really not even close. It's him and Mahomes, I would say. Him and Mahomes are the number 1 and number 2 guys that are just pop out on you on the screen. So I would love the Ravens to be good. I just don't think they're going to be the over the top elite team. I think the Ravens will make the playoffs at about 10 to 11 wins. I think they will be second in this division. But, man, I don't feel strongly about it, though, because the teams behind them have just such high potential of being really, really good and high potential of not being bad that they very easily could be taken out. This is the thing about this exact division is the Ravens could be 1, the Browns in a world could be 1, the Steelers could be 1, and the Bengals obviously could be 1. But they all could also be, besides the Bengals, the Ravens, Browns, Steelers could all be last place. I really believe that. So I'll move on to the Steelers, which is the preseason hype train of a team. Everybody's like, oh, you're hype on the Lions? Well, Did you actually know that they won the same amount of games down the stretch as the Steelers, and nobody's hyping up the Steelers as much? Did you also know Kenny Pickett's going to be the MVP? That's kind of how this preseason's gone, but I somewhat agree with most of it. I'm always big into betting teams that are never bad to be not bad. I'm big into that. I'm big into second-year quarterbacks. Also, kind of an older second-year quarterback, so he should be pretty. I have the Steelers being the third best team in this division. I could very easily see a very good 2 spot in this division. Like I said, this division is going to be a dogfight, but I'm not ready to bet my entire faith on Kenny Pickett and George Pickens over the proven regular season production and winning percentage of Jim Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. They have just proven to be able to win a shit ton of games in the regular season. And, I mean, that could put them in the 1 spot in this division, and I have them as the 3 spot. So I'm just not comfortable, or I have them at the 2 spot. I'm not comfortable putting them 3rd in this division. I'm not ready to go all the way there with the Steelers yet, but I feel really good about their roster this season. Kenny Pickett should be good. There's no reason that they can't be a 2 in this division. I just believe that the Ravens will be better than them. And the Cleveland Browns being the 4th team in this division is crazy to me, because if you look up down their roster on paper, they are easily an AFC contender, like a AFC championship game contender for sure. But we just don't know what we're going to get from Deshaun Watson. We haven't seen it since 2020 at this point, and I don't think he's just coming through that door. I don't see it happening. No, we'll find out within 4 weeks into the season. We'll know. We will know within 4 weeks if he is old Deshaun or if he's not. I just think it's been too much for a young man in this world for what has happened. I'm not even going to discuss what has happened, but for what has happened, being in the media cycle that much, being so good at such a young age. I was one of Deshaun Watson's biggest fans, but at this point with Cleveland, I don't know. I think that's where we should all be getting with this is we don't know. And that's kind of why I have them at the 4th spot, is just because they have the biggest questions in this division. Like I said, there's a world, I don't think it's going to happen, but there's a world where they're the number 1 spot in this division. If Burrow gets hurt or something, and if the Ravens and Steelers aren't as good as we think, and the Browns are better than we think. But they just don't have enough established pieces as the other 3 teams in this division, and their entire season is dependent on whether the quarterback, who we haven't seen play great football in 3 years, really even good football, is he going to be able to just be good? I don't know. So that's my AFC North. And then on to the AFC South, which is just a horrible division. But if the Jaguars weren't in this division, this would be one of the worst divisions of all time. I'll start with the Texans. Hopefully Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud win Rookie of the Year from their respective sides of the ball, right? That's all you care about with this season. Don't be the worst team in the league. Show some flashes on offense. Hopefully your young players on defense show some playmaking ability. And hopefully your coach doesn't look incompetent. And that's about it. The Texans have really nothing to look forward to besides this season, besides just rookie quarterback play pretty decent, and we'll see. A lot of the same things I just said for the Texans are the same things for the Colts. The Jonathan Taylor situation is super freaking weird. I get the idea of not paying a running back. I get that in today's NFL, for a lot of contending teams, remember that word, really? I get the ideology of not paying a running back, and it's a salary cap sport, and I'm not going to give high dollars to a player that I can get 80% of for $25 less million than I can at a wide receiver position or a tight end position especially, or a quarterback or something of that sort where their position is a lot more valued and less replaceable. I get all of that. But it only makes sense for teams like the Kansas City Chiefs or even the Vikings, who they have an aging running back and they don't want to, give him a 4th contract of him aging into it. Like, I get all that. For the Indianapolis Colts to look at their roster and look at their young quarterback, they just drafted number 4 overall in the draft and is going to be the starter to start the season. To not be super excited to give him the greatest security blanket of all time and one of the most elite running backs in the league in his backfield, that's malfeasance from a franchise. My true opinion on this Jonathan Taylor situation is Jim Irsay talks to a lot of rich football buddies, and they all talk about how running backs aren't supposed to be paid when they're probably on functioning teams. Don't pay a running back if your team is functioning and you're paying a lot of other great players. The Colts aren't paying anyone. It makes no sense. They are the one in. If you told me, Talon, give me the perfect example of a situation to where you would want to pay your running back, I would give you the Titans, and I would give you the Indianapolis Colts. Especially the Indianapolis Colts now with a rookie quarterback. So I don't get it. He's on the PUP list. He's going to be out for 4 games. I don't see a trade happening now that his value has been diminished, and the Colts would just look so stupid if they ended up trading Jonathan Taylor for pennies on the dollar when they could have just traded him before their stupid PUP deadline. There are a select few of teams in professional sports that make me believe that I could fill their positions better for them. The Indianapolis Colts are one of them. So I'm just going to put the Texans and the Colts win range both at like 4-6, dude. Honestly, 4-6 wins. And I'll just talk about the Titans real quick because I clearly have my order as Jags, Titans, Colts, Texans. So I'll just talk about the Titans real quick. I don't know. I have them as the 3rd best team in this division just based off the fact that they have some more competitive pieces. They lost like 7 games in a row last season or something crazy like that. But Mike Vrabel's usually a pretty good head coach. Or he is a great head coach. His teams are usually well coached, and they are usually pretty decent at the least. I've never seen the Titans with him be bad. They're always they gave the Chiefs like so much trouble last season in the game with Malik Willis. Like that's a coaching phenomenon right there. And I just respect the foundation that they have with Derrick Henry and whoever is at quarterback. I believe in the team enough to be second in this division. Mind you, a horrible division, but second in the division. So, and moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think this team's a 10-13 win team. Their schedule is a piece of cake. I mean, yeah, they're in the AFC South, and they're playing the NFC South. The Jags were a divisional round team last year. I don't know why people aren't really treating them as such. There's no reason that they don't win 12-13 games this season. I think Trevor Lawrence could be MVP caliber this season. I think Calvin Ridley will be a great addition to that receiving core. And their division's just horrible. The Jags have way too many layup games for them not to win some of their swing win-loss games to where I really could see them having 13 wins this season. Like, I could see something crazy out of the Jags. More realistically, 11 or 12. Hello, everyone. Basically, that camera that I was using, it kind of has this battery, and it dies a lot. So, not any more specific points. I was basically just going on about how the Jaguars are going to be pretty awesome this year, and Trevor Lawrence is going to win the NFL MVP, and the Chiefs are still going to be in the Super Bowl, and it's all going to be great. And I haven't spent 3 hours going crazy editing this video, and you're like, Tone, how have you spent 3 hours on a video? We're just chopping up audio and putting signs in front of your face. Well, I'm not very good. But yeah, so I'm excited for the NFL season. I will try to push out my NFC video pretty fast and soon here because the season literally starts on Thursday. I guess I got a little bit more time because most of the season starts on Sunday. So, but yeah, I'm ready for the season, man, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.
subscribe.